Many of the things I talk about I find very irritating. That's what leads me to investigate them. You know, you look around for a hair of the dog that bit you. I look into many of the new forms simply because I find them very exasperating and irritating and troublesome to peace of mind and so on. And on the other hand, I've discovered, to my amazement, that if you take some violent and irritating process, say like radio or TV, and start looking at how it works, what it's doing to you and why it's doing it to you, you can get very enthralled, very excited.
Television has been labeled sterile.
There is nothing sterile about television, except in the eye of the beholder. The FCC type of observation of television, the totally irrelevant, totally incapable of coming to grips with this form. When you speak of sterility, you speak of the movie programs that are shown on TV. You're not talking about television at all.
Marshall Mcluhan is a professor of English at the University of Toronto and director of its Center for Culture and Technology. He's the author of several books and hundreds of articles whose sales increase daily and spreads. Suddenly, everybody, press, industry, corporations, and the new youth, have discovered him, and he has become a storm center of extreme controversy.
My largest objections to his principle is that he's basically, and this is a distilled view of what I've gotten from his work and from his presence, a whimsical sociologist rather than a penetrating philosopher or a deep-thinking psychologist.
The ordinary child of our culture is being educated, massaged by the TV form into a state of participation in all sorts of sensuous operations that the old visual culture carefully refrained from and kept distant from.
The week after the book came out, you suddenly heard professors starting talking about the grain and the medium is the message, and suddenly all these little slogans, were all just being picked up, like that, and it became sort of rather sort of mud.
Why should in the TV age scuba diving or skin diving suddenly become popular? I would say right offhand, the reason is very simple. TV watching is scuba diving.
I do believe he is a popularizer. I do believe in 5 years we will look back at this book and perhaps shrug our shoulders. I don't think it's of long or lasting influence.
The movie has become progressively better understood since TV. It has become an art form. It is being given all sorts of special consideration and is even being used as a recruiting center for political talent and other show business.
I think Mr. Mcluhan seems to be awake to all of the media of modern life, certainly, and he understands, perhaps either intuitively or with his very broad intelligence, the meanings of the various major art movements, including pop art.
Now that we have an electronic sort of world, we live imaginatively in the old frontier world of, horse opera.
Salinger was the great hero, and strangely enough, for another group, A.A. Milne. So it doesn't have to do with adulthood or maturity necessarily. I believe some of these are fads. However, Mcluhan, aside from youngsters who are now involved with Lord of the Rings in the same way, has some interesting things to say. And the fact that Madison Avenue got more involved with him than perhaps academia, and I'm talking about faculty level at academia, I believe is revealing.
The fact is the telephone speeds up all patterns of human interrelationship so that all kinds of decision-making, all kinds of organizational life inside business and in the community are changed completely.
His writing style is extraordinarily up-to-date. It has a kind of swing to it that mediates between highfalutin scholarship and ad writing. And when you read that, although it doesn't read clearly all the way, somehow the cumulative effect of it is that you understand much better than if you heard some stuffy scholar talking in a classroom.
To me, this is his role. He's talking about goggles, and everybody's got a set of goggles. Everybody thinks his own set was given to him by God and is universal, natural, and supposed to be. And what he's saying, he says, just for a minute think of the possibility that maybe your set of goggles is a private, idiosyncratic set of goggles. And suppose that the generation before had a different set of goggles, and you got this set of goggles, and you both think you're looking at it the same way, and you're not.
No, the praise is not completely unanimous. Though Life has labeled him the oracle of the electric age, and the Herald Tribune said he may be the most important thinker since Newton, Darwin, Freud, and Einstein, he has also been called the high priest of pop culture, the intellectual celebrity, and even that nut professor in Canada.